Blessed be everyone. Hello and welcome to another episode of Whispers of the Craft. Guys, I wanted to go over something has been bothering me. I've seen a lot of this on the internet, and I'm sorry, but it's come to my attention, and it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine how some people see ancient gods that were worshipped, and because they are in the Bible or because the Bible references them, they tend to see that these are demonic gods or something, or that certain things were worshipped to these evil gods, is what they would say in the Bible. I have come to put that myth to a rest. And we're going to do several. We're not just going to do Baal. We'll do Malak as well. A lot of these ancient gods and goddesses were not evil. They were just worshipped by a different culture, by a different, different society, ancient societies. So we're going to learn a little bit about Baal today, and we're going to learn the truth about him. Okay. And I hope you will share this with all of the people who say that these gods are evil, they're demonic demons. They are none of the sort. They were just literally worshipped by ancient communities and cultures. So before, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's more offending to people who worship different gods and goddesses. I think, in my opinion, I think it's actually more of an insult to me or to other people who may still worship Baal. He wasn't demonic. Okay. Now you have to remember, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, all my Christian friends out there. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just trying to bring some truth and clarity to what maybe you might hear from people who don't understand, or they think that they're quoting the Bible when the Bible is nothing. It means nothing. Okay. It was put in there. These gods and goddesses were made to look evil because they didn't want you worshiping them. Okay. The older cultures, when they brought Christianity into the fold, and they did this with pagans as well. They tried to make all the pagan gods evil so that you would worship God and Jesus. And I'm here to tell you that's bunk. It was complete bunk from the beginning. And like I said, I'm just going to do a little show today about Baal, because I saw him recently in the news, and some from people that I thought I could trust. I love these people on my online friends that I always am with, and you can check me out on Angel in the Afternoon every Friday at 7 p.m. I did take a little bit of a break yesterday because I really wasn't feeling well, but I am tip top now. And but again, this is not to offend anyone, so please don't let this get to you. I am just relaying information to you. That is what I'm hoping that this show is bringing to you. Because again, I've seen Baal in the news lately, and a lot of people have not misgivings about him, but they definitely they have the wrong impression of him. Okay. It is the people who made him supposedly evil. And a lot of that is the Bible too. How would you get your flock? Sorry. How would you get your congregation to only worship one God? You would tell them that the other gods are evil, and that anything that they do is demonic or evil if they worship these gods. And I just think there's a lot of disinformation out there. So let's bring you the information. This is straight from the Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica. And this is all about Baal. Now I will do one about Moloch. And I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to find a healthy, times to do this, because I have 3 shows that I'm responsible for. Plus I'm doing angel shows, and we're doing, I do 2 of those. So I'm doing like 5 shows, sometimes more. So anyway, let's get right down to brass tacks. So Baal, who is Baal and what is he all about? So in the ancient times or ancient cultures, Baal was a god worshipped in many ancient Middle Eastern communities, especially among the Canaanites, who apparently considered him a fertility deity, and one of the most important gods in the pantheon. As a Semitic common noun, Baal, Hebrew Baal, meant owner or lord, although it could be used more generally. For example, a ball of wings was a winged creature, and in the plural, baalim of arrows indicated archers. Okay, so right there, even though you have, I mean, that was the not even the first paragraph, first couple of sentences. He was never evil. Okay, he was considered one of the most important gods, I would say, in the pantheon, like almost as they would consider him as high as Zeus. So, like he was almost like the Lord, not the Lord, but he was like the God among gods, right? So Zeus is like the king of the gods. So I'm guessing Baal was also the king of the gods, right? They considered him a fertility god. Okay, so and that doesn't mean just human fertility or animal fertility. That also means, harvesting the earth. What are Wiccans all about? What are pagans all about? We are of the earth. We love to grow things. We have a green thumb, is what they like to say. And me too. I'd like to get back to growing, flowers, beautiful flowers, and then also some, fruits and vegetables here and there. But anyway, to get back to this, we are of the earth, and so they believe that Baal uh, was a god of the earth. Okay, so and we're gonna get to that because a few sentences down, you're gonna see Lord of the earth. But they considered him a fertility, so he was a big harvest god. Okay, the god of the harvest, the god of the earth, because if you have a good harvest, guess what, you are going to be able to sustain yourselves through the winter when it's not so fertile. Okay, so it is more likely that you are to worship these gods, certain gods, so that you can have a good harvest, and we will get more into that. Okay. Moving on. Yet such validity in the use of the term Baal did not prevent it from being attached to a god of distinct character. As such, Baal designed the universe god of fertility, and in that capacity, his title was Prince Lord of the Earth. Now, see, didn't I just say it was about the earth? He's fertility. So when farmers till the land, they actually, they put the plants into the ground so the plants can grow, and then those fruits and vegetables and corn and stuff, it all nourishes our bodies. Okay, so again, Baal, from this article alone, doesn't seem so bad, does he? He actually seems like he was actually like God and Jesus. You would pray to God to, hey, God, do you mind if we have a good harvest this year? It's the same thing. It just was a different culture. So I'm hoping that this brightens a few eyes, or at least opens some eyes, opens some minds to the fact that people are no different than us. The ancient cultures, they just wanted to make sure that their crops grew. Okay. I will continue. He was also called the Lord of Rain and Dew, the two forms of moisture that were indispensable for fertile soil in Canaan. Yes, again, and as the storm god, I'm not going to read this all, but as a storm god, he was he who rides on the clouds, Lord of the heavens, Baal Shaman, Lord of the heavens, excuse me. So you see, there's nothing there about evilness or that Baal was some kind of evil demon god that, they worshipped, and they did horrible things to, everyone. And that's not what this is about. Okay. And again, I'm not going to go into a lot of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will read this part So in 1929 onward, in the northern Syria and dated to the middle of the second millennium BCE, the tablets that they found, although closely attached to the worship of Baal at his local temple, probably represented Canaanite belief generally. Fertility was in terms of a 7-year cycle. So fertility was part of a 7-year cycle. Okay. Again, nothing about demonic, nothing demonic there. That's all just part of a cycle. And again, the fertility part of it. Okay. Which is what I want you to mainly listen and focus on. So in the mythology of Canaan, Baal, the god of life and fertility, locked in mortal combat with Mot, the god of death and sterility. Sterility. Sorry. Anyway, it's to show you. So even these gods had other gods, that they would fight with. So Zeus fought against the Titans. And he won that battle. Again, this is no different. So the god of death was Mot. If Baal triumphed, a 7-year cycle of fertility would ensue. But if he were vanquished by Mot, 7 years of drought and famine would ensue. So even back then, they knew the difference between evil and good. And even if Mot was the god of death, he still wasn't evil. Does that make sense? I hope that does. And I'm only doing this because it's a really big pet peeve of mine that people just automatically assume just because it's in the Bible, it's evil. Okay. And unfortunately, that is how the church has always done their business. They've always tried to turn you away from these gods and have literally turned you towards, well, you have to, you have to worship God and Jesus or else. That's not how it should be, but who am I to judge, right? I'm just trying to open your mind, open your heart to, it's not what the Bible says it is. Okay. Even though a lot of these do get, bad raps. Okay. So, the gentleman, who found these, Ross Shamra, he goes on to say texts tell of their other fertility aspects of Baal as his relationship with Anath, his consort and sister. Now remember, gods and goddesses are kind of different. Remember the story of Zeus and Hera. They were brother and sister, but they were also husband and wife. Same with Kali and Shiva, brother and sister, but also husband and wife. And also his sire, a divine bull calf from a heifer. So again, this is all about the earth. This is about animals. This is about fertility. Again, nothing in here about sacrificing anything or anyone. None of that stuff, guys. Again, I can't stress enough how people take this out of context and they believe what they read on X or whatever, Facebook, without diving deep. No one that I know of dives this deep into, these articles where they actually learn a little bit about these gods and goddesses that are supposedly demonic. They're not demonic. They were just worshipped in a different way. But they were told to you to be demonic because they want the people who wanted you to turn away from those gods and goddesses wanted you to worship only one God. I think you get my drift. So there's a lot of information here. I definitely want you to pick this up. We are going to read a little bit more. So as this was part of his fertility role, which when fulfilled meant an abundance of crops and fertility for animals and mankind. Okay, so again, this line right here, nothing about demonic, nothing being demonic when it comes to Baal. Nothing he did was demonic. In fact, if he actually won over Mot, who was the god of death, they actually would have a beautiful, harvest, and everyone would have abundance. This one I think is very important. But Baal was not exclusively a fertility god. He also was the king of the gods. And to achieve that position, he was portrayed as seizing the divine kingship from Yam, the sea god. Okay. Again, just like the story of Zeus, what was I saying earlier about Zeus and Hera, and he won against the Titans? Again, nothing in here at all about demonic possession or demonic something or other. Nothing like that. Nothing in here about sacrifice. Nothing in here and not until it got into the Bible part of it. Okay. But again, there's nothing in this article that says he was demonic or that he, did this to humans or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And again, you can read this article. I will try to link this in the description field below. Again, if you want to read on, but we're not going to read much more of this. There was something else, wasn't there? There's stuff in here. If you want to read about, and this is where, of course, it comes into like about the Bible and stuff. But okay, so yeah, if you want to read more about that, I will definitely link this in the description field. But I just wanted everyone to, again, a big pet peeve of mine is that people just don't look this stuff up. They don't take the time to go, oh, well, maybe it wasn't the God that was evil. Maybe it was the people that were evil. So I know a lot has come out about some stuff in some files. I'm not going to say what exactly, but some stuff came out in some files, and they were talking about Baal and Moloch and all these other gods. That is what the Bible has said. And again, here we are again with the Bible whispered down the lane, and no one takes the time to actually look these gods up. I don't care about what the Bible says about Baal or what the Bible says about Moloch or what the Bible says about this or that. I'm giving you the information that was given by these historians, that they were literally just gods and goddesses of fertility, or they were the king of the gods, or they were, love and beauty. All these kind of different gods and goddesses were worshipped by ancient cultures, not demonically. Again, the Druids would sacrifice young men and women to their gods, but again, their gods were not requesting it. They did it because they thought that's how you communicate with the gods. Okay, so again, it's not the god and goddesses that are evil, it is the people that were evil. Okay, I hope that people understand this. And again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, especially if you're Christian. I'm not trying to talk down to you. I don't want you talking down to me saying, well, that's just evil. Baal is evil and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it where you would get that, because again, the Bible people wanted you to only worship God and Jesus. So if you would actually say, well, why would I just worship them when I can worship all these other gods and goddesses? Strike out on your own and do your own research. Don't just blindly follow what someone tells you. So I'm hoping this information was helpful for you. Again, if you would like to learn more about Baal or Moloch, please look them up. Again, don't do articles that will say, well, this is what the Bible says about them. I don't care what the Bible says about them. Okay, I want the real truth, the real story behind who they are and who they were before the Bible even got into it, I guess. Okay, so I will link this is the Encyclopedia Britannica. I will link that in the description field. So if you'd like to read more about him, again, feel free. You can do your own research, of course. And I probably will be back maybe next week to do one on Moloch again, not an evil God, not an evil. I mean, you can believe what the Bible says about him, or you can believe, that he was. I think he was also like Zeus, king of the gods. Again, everyone says, well, this guy was evil, that guy was evil. None of them are evil. They were only worshipped by ancient cultures to, bring good harvests and stuff. There was a sun god. I mean, the sun god Ra, in Egypt. They all thought he handled the sun. He's the one who put the sun around the earth, So again, it's ancient cultures that literally knew these gods and goddesses personally, and we just act like, oh, well, if you believe in those gods and goddesses and you worship them, then you must be evil. That is not it. That is not it at all. You are not evil for worshiping these gods and goddesses. And that's why I have this information out there. Again, I will link everything that I just said I would. And hopefully that gives you a starting point. Again, please, if you do see this online, please tell people that these gods and goddesses are not evil. They never were. It was the people that were evil. Okay. All right. I hope that, I feel much better. But again, I'm not doing any of this to offend anybody. You are very safe in your beliefs. That's fine. If you want to believe in that Baal was evil, that's fine. But don't expect me to believe it when I have facts on my side. Okay. So I give you the facts and then you do with that what you will. Okay. So hopefully I'll see you guys next week. And again, I'm sorry I've been away so long, but I got a new job and I really, really love this job. Okay. I so can rock this job. And that's why I got back into and it's literally like right down the street from my house. So I'm very, very blessed by the gods and goddesses for giving me such a opportunity with my current job. So anyway, I hope everyone has a blessed week, and I hope the goddess and gods shine down on you and give you all your manifestations and everything you've been hoping for. I will try to be back next week. If I don't, I'll see you when I see you next. Blessed be everyone.
Blessed be everyone. I just want to let everyone know that the AI song at the end is AI generated. Again, it is AI generated. Blessed be and have a great day, everybody.
Under the pines where the shadows fall long, she hums an old tune, a forgotten song. Her hands in the dirt, drawing circles and lines, chasing the wisdom that flows through the pines. Candles flicker in the midnight air, a quiet power lingers there. Moonlight whisper, soft on her skin. She calls to the night, lets the magic begin. The stars know her secrets, the wind knows her name. Moonlight whisper, wild and untamed.